Tell all the normies at home something they don't realize. But at the upper echelons of life, everything is just a game. Nothing is real. Everything's a power game, and you don't get to the top echelons of life unless you understand that and you don't take things too seriously. People are watching Trump speak to Obama and they're confused. Obama tried to kill him. Why would he speak to him? Because that's just the game we all play. It's like being friends with somebody after a cage fight. I've hurt people very badly, and afterwards you shake their hand. It's just the game. The people at the bottom believe the game is personal. The people who are at the bottom, who are dying in the trenches, believe the game matters. But at the top, both teams, both sides, both political entities understand it's all just a power struggle. It's all just a game. Maybe my side will win. Maybe your side will win. Maybe thousands of people will die. Maybe women will get raped, but it doesn't matter. Trump knew all along. They're going to try and kill me. They're going to try and lawfare me. That's the game I'm playing. I won this time. God's on my side. That's good. It's all just a game. None of it really matters. I go to court here in Romania, my judge and the police officers, everyone says, yeah, we know you're innocent. You got too big online. It's a game. Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, well, you know I'm innocent. I know I'm innocent. Why are we here? So, because it's the game we have to play. People at the bottom think it's about innocent, guilty, victims. That's not how it works. Alvin Bragg knows Trump is innocent. Trump knows he's corrupt. It's just a game. So many people are ideologically and emotionally involved in this world, not understanding this simulation, this matrix that we live in. At the top levels, the people who genuinely influence it have emotionally detached from it, because you can't get to the top or handle life at the top unless you're emotionally detached. When I was doing my interview saying to people, I don't care if I go to jail, they're like, oh, sure, you don't want to go to jail. I don't care. It's just the game. You win some, you lose some. It's like playing poker. You win a hand, you become the most famous man in the world. You win a hand, you get hundreds of millions of dollars. You lose a hand, you do 5 years in jail. You win a hand, you're famous. It's life. There's no such thing as caring about this stuff. The kind of person who's scared to do 3 or 4 years in jail to be the most famous man on the planet is the kind of person who would never become the most famous man on the planet in the first place because they're a bitch. You only get to the top because you don't give a fuck. Trump doesn't care Obama tried to kill him. Now it's on with work. Now it's on with things to do. Now he's sitting there talking to him at Jimmy Carter's funeral. I've got to organize these things now. And Obama's like, yeah, well, you avoid the bullet. That was smooth. It's the game. In World War II, all the soldiers were dying in the trenches, getting their guts ripped out. When the generals meet to discuss surrender, they have a nice warm meal and a cup of tea. And even if you end up in a Nuremberg trial, even if you end up being hung, you're not personal about it. It's just the game. Oh, well, lost this hand, time to die. No big deal. Every real man understands that dying is really not that big a deal. You try your best to avoid it, but people live, people die. Real men are obsessed with the idea of mortality all of the time because you don't get to the top without having constant threats on your life. Men like me, men like Trump, men like Elon, we have people who have tried to kill us, and we have people trying to kill us right now, all day, every day. All you think about is the fact that maybe one day I'll die, and there's not much I can do about it. And guess what happens? Like an old person in a hospice. You come to terms with things, and nothing really matters. So after years of living this way, when someone hits you with lawfare, you don't give a shit. You become emotionally detached to the whole big game that we're all playing here. This is why Keir Starmer and his people voted against the inquiry into the little girls getting raped. You're sitting there going, how could he? You're right, that makes him a bad person, but he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. It's a game. Everyone's already forgotten. He'll still be prime minister tomorrow. He'll get away with whatever he's allowed to get away with. This is the game we all play. And in British politics, let's be honest, they can get away with whatever they want. And nothing happens to them afterwards. They just disappear somewhere. Or walk around London. Nothing happens. Who gives a shit if little girls get raped? They don't care. Nobody cares. They don't care if they drop bombs on Gaza. They don't care if they inflate the currency. They don't care if they steal all your money. They don't care if soldiers go to die. They don't care if they attempt to overthrow a country and it's successful and it ends up making the country a shithole like Libya. They don't care if they overthrow the country and they fail to overthrow it and a whole bunch of people died for no reason. Nothing matters. None of this shit matters. The most large and important geographical and geopolitical events that everybody is emotionally invested in on Twitter, the people who actually have pull and actually have power, don't give a shit. My criminal case, the prosecutor has told me I'm innocent. The judge has told me I'm innocent. But I still have to face the idea that they might lock me up anyway. Why? It's the game. Maybe we'll see how the politics play out in Romania. Maybe we want you free, maybe we don't. Cool. What can you do? The kind of person who would sit there and scream, That's not fair. That's not how it works. That's not fair. It's not gaming, law, order. The judges are real. Education is real. The news is real. Those are the kind of people who never make it to the top. All you people screaming, that's why you don't make it to the top. Do you understand? I'm not saying you don't point out injustice. I'm not saying you don't have an opinion. I'm saying you understand that this is all one big chess game. And what the pawns think really doesn't matter. Because if the king wants that pawn to die, it's going to die. And if the king wants to turn that pawn into a queen, he will. And what really matters is that the king is happy at the end of it all. And the kings on this planet, the true movers and shakers, the people who have genuine influence, like me, trust me, if you heard the conversations we're involved in, you would understand that George Soros would happily sit with his biggest enemies, and his biggest enemies would happily sit with him over a nice fancy meal and have a very calm conversation as both of them try and push society in absolutely different directions. Nobody gives a fuck.